was never defeated. Not once. Not in open battle. Not in siege. Not even in death. A general who fought half of Europe. Blind. To some a national hero. To others a dangerous fanatic. But one thing is certain. No one ever ignored him. His name inspired fear, respect and revolution. This is a story of Jan Zizka, the warrior who changed the face of war forever. Every legend begins somewhere, and story of Jan Zizka starts far from any throne and royal place. He was born around the year 1360 in the village of Trocnov, deep in South Bohemia. Not a nobleman, not a prince, but a member of the lower gentry, the minor nobility. Bohemia at that time was a land of chaos, peasant uprising, power struggles, and the constant threat of the forging wars. From a young age, Zizka would have seen hardship, violence, disease, hunger, and above all, inequality. According to legend, he lost one of his eyes in childhood. The details are lost to time. But this one would come to define his myth. As a young man, he chose the sword. He served as a mercenary, fighting whenever gold and purpose took him. Some sources suggest they fought in Poland, perhaps even at the Battle of Grunwald in 1410, one of the largest medieval battles ever fought. These campings taught him more than just combat. They taught him movement, discipline, survival, and the brutal politics of war. He never stood out at court, he never had a royal title, but he learned it on a real battlefields, in blood, fire, and mud. And when he returned to Bohemia, he carried with him something far more valuable than gold. Experience. The kind of experience that would soon change a history. In the early 15th century, Bohemia was on the edge of eruption. Religious tension, corruption in the church, and the rising voice of a preacher named Jan Hus. When Hus was burned at the stake in 1415, something broke. Not just in the mind of the people, but in their hearts. The flames that consumed him lit the fire of a revolution. Zizka returned to a land that no longer trusted Rome. A land divided, angry, and ready to fight. He joined the radical Hussites, now as Taborites, named after the new fortified town of Tabor. They believe in justice, in equality, and in the right to resist corrupted power. Zizka was no longer just a soldier. He became a leader, a commander not by title, but by trust. He trained peasants, merchants, farmers, and turned them into warriors. And when the armies of Sigismund came to crush the rebellion, Zizka stood ready, not with castles, but with cards. March 1420, a Hussite column of just 400 people is retreating south. They are mostly peasants, few have real weapons, and fewer still have any military experience. Behind them marches an army, over 2,000 knights and cavalry, sent by Sigismund to crush the rebellion before it begins. The Hussites are trapped between two ponds near the village of Sudomer. There is no castle, no fortress, only open land. But Jan Zizka doesn't panic. He doesn't flee. He improvises. He orders the wagons to form a circle, a mobile fortress made of cards, shields and hope. Inside the circle, the peasants wait. Outside, knights prepare to charge. They laugh, mock the Hussites, and they ride with the banners flying. But the ground is soft, the ponds are deep, and the wagons are ready. As the cavalry charges, they bonked down in the mud. Spears, axes, and crossbows strike from behind the wagons. The knights fall, one by one. The Hussites stand their ground. And when the dust settles, Zizka has won his first battle against overwhelming odds. This is the birth of the legendary Wagon Fort, and the birth of Zizka, as a commander no one would ever underestimate again. Summer 1420. The armies of the Holy Roman Empire have come to destroy the Hussites once and for all. Led by King Sigismund himself, they lay siege to Prague. Tens of thousands of crusaders, heavily armed knights, elite mercenaries from across Europe. And then there is Zizka. He commands a much smaller force, mostly peasants, craftsmen, and few trained fighters. But he understands terrain, he understands psychology, and he understands fear. Atop a hill just outside Prague, Zizka builds a fort. Simple, wooden, but a place where it matters. Vitkov Hill. The enemy must pass it to take the city. Sigismund means attack. Confident, laughing, heading straight up the hill, but the slope is narrow, the ground is steep, and Zizka's warriors rain arrows and rocks from above. Then a counterattack. From behind. Zizka had hidden men in the woods. They strike with fury. The crusaders panic. They tumble down the cliffs. Some fall into the river below. The attack fails. Prague stands. And Zizka, now blind in one eye, is hailed as a national hero. He did not need castles. He built defenses from earth and will. He proved that faith and strategy can defeat even an empire. In a war, your eyes are your greatest weapon. To read the terrain, to spot weaknesses, to lead from the front. And Jan Zizka lost both. He had already lost one eye in his youth, that much is known, but around 1421 he lost the second. Some blame an infection, others say it was a wound, others say it was a wound from a siege. Either way, he went completely blind. And yet, he didn't step down, he didn't retire, he didn't break. Instead, he adapted, he listened more, he relied on messengers, scouts, and reports. His knowledge of the land was unmatched. He had fought in nearly every corner of Bohemia. He knew the hills, rivers, paths by heart. His orders were still precise, still brutal, and still effective. To be under Zizka's command means strict discipline. Any failure, any betrayal was punished. But his men followed him willingly, because he won. Because he protected the weak, and because he feared nothing. Not kings, not the church, not even darkness. Under his leadership, the Hussite army grew stronger. Not just in numbers, but in tactics. He refined the Wagon Forts. He trained formation. He coordinated attacks with artillery and cavalry. He created a new kind of warfare, a mobile, thinking army made of common people. In a time when knights ruled the battlefields, Zizka rewrote the rules, and he did it blind. He had fought kings, he had fought crusaders, and he had fought fate itself. But even Jan Zizka could not fight time. In October 1424, while leading a campaign in Eastern Bohemia, he fell ill. Some say it was a plague, others say a stroke or infection, but what is certain is that he died still in command, still planning his next battle. He was around 64 years old, completely blind, yet undefeated. No enemy had ever killed him, no army had ever broke him. He died only because life ran out. His death shocked his followers, but even in death, he reminded their leader. According to legend, he ordered that his skin be used to cover a war drum, so that even after that, his enemies would hear his presence. We don't know if it's true, but it doesn't matter, because legends are stronger than facts. Zizka's tactic lived on. The Hussite armies continued to win battles, using the very formation and discipline he created. He left behind no throne, no dynasty, no treasure, but he left a legacy, one of resistance, strategy and courage. A peasant's son who defeated empires, a blind warrior who saw more clearly than any kings, and a name that Europe never forgot. History remembers kings, but sometimes it's the rebels who leave the deepest scars. Jan Zizka was never meant to rule. He had no crown, no throne, no empire, and yet his idea outlived them all. He showed that discipline can beat power, that knowledge can beat strength, and that courage can blind the world to fear. Today, his statue stands above Prague, but his real monument is the story. Now, it's your turn. What do you think of Jan Zizka? He was a hero, revolutionary, or something else entirely? Tell me in the comments, and if you want to discover more forgotten legends, don't forget to subscribe. So, thank you for watching, and if you made it all the way to the end, you are a legend too. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe for more. We will see you next Friday, right here on Czeching History.